Hi, I'm Matt Barry from ESPN. You're getting ready to watch one of the best college football podcasts ever. It's the Harris Highlight Show.
Na 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 na.
Coming to you live from the Bill Austin Radio Studio at the Walter Cronkite School of Journalism in beautiful downtown Phoenix. This is episode 7 of season 4 of the Harris Highlight Show. Joining me this week is our college football expert, Josh Schaefer, our college football analyst, Lyle Goldstein, our executive producer, Brady Klein, and I'm your host for the evening, Blake Harris. Boys, it's October. The Dodgers aren't doing well, but we're still in studio. We have a great show ahead, lots of fun content, but how's our Tuesday night going?
You know what? There weren't very many good games this weekend, in my opinion. A lot of teams on byes, so I'm very excited for the weekend ahead.
I could not agree more. I mean, there was one supposed to be good game. It was a very okay game. Other than that, there was not a whole lot to talk about.
Meh. That's how you described this last week of college football.
Overall, it seems like it's been a very underwhelming season of college football. We had that one week where we talked about like 10 to 12 different games, but it seems like since then, it's been a very boring season so far. But this upcoming week should be a good one. But before we talk about college football, make sure to follow us on Twitter at the HH Show _. We're coming in on 700 followers, guys. Coming in on 700 followers, so maybe by next week's show we can reach that amount. So if you want to interact with us on Twitter, go ahead, follow us. If you're listening now, make sure you go and follow us. And also, if you want to listen live, tune into BlazeRadioOnline.com every Tuesday night at 10 p.m. Eastern, where you can listen to us talk some college football. But now, before we get into the news, it's time to go over how we did this week in our college football fantasy draft. Well, I know, Josh, I know. We're going to get to you in a second. I squared off against Big L this week and gave him the L. 190.4 to 168.08.
Oh my goodness!
Now, Lyle, there was a bit of an issue on your end where you picked up Notre Dame's defense, but you forgot to start Notre Dame's defense.
I could swear on my life they were setting my lineup. Maybe I didn't hit the button I thought I hit. I don't know. Regardless, yeah, that was an 18 points on my bench that I thought I could have used, and then Isaiah Hodgins had the week of his life for you, Blake, and then it didn't end up really making a difference.
Yeah,
That's
I mean,
tough.
I'm trying to see here. He only gave me 30 points.
30's pretty nice.
That's true. I mean, it ain't no, 58 points from
Anthony Gordon.
Anthony Gordon a few weeks ago
my
when
God.
he was in Josh's lineup, I believe. But
Yes.
now, the best part is, I mean, Lyle, it didn't affect you because I beat you by 22 points. Notre Dame got 18, so it would have been a real bummer if, they would have scored 25 points and they would have been on your bench. So luckily it didn't cost you. But the game of the week came down between BK and Josh. Brady comes out with the win, 181.88 to 181.01. So Brady wins by less than 1 point. I don't know who to go to first, Brady on that close win or Josh on that awful loss.
Brady, go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say I'm real proud of my guys. They performed well. They came in clutch when they needed to. Let me get my fantasy lineup pulled up. But it was a good win. It was a nail biter. See? Fingernails are all gone. That's not just because I bite my nails in general. It was a real nail biter of a football game, Josh, and I respect my opponent a lot. And good luck for you, and I hope to see you again in the future.
I don't respect you. You suck. I'm so mad about this game. Genuinely so upset. I mean, Joe Burrow went off. I'll take 31 points from Jalen. That's kind of bull honky too, because he's been getting me 40 every week. But look, I do not understand how the wide receivers score points in this week. You're trying to tell me CD Lamb got me 5 points? I don't know how that works. Blake, I blame you. I also want to blame Auburn's offense, which we'll talk on later. Whitlow got me 8 points. And that just ain't it, fam. I literally needed 1 point. 1 point. So disappointing.
And it was this close with Jonathan Taylor getting 44 for me.
Yeah, like Brady. I got a couple guys scoring 5 points and 9 points and 5 points and 8 points. Brady had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 people score fewer than 10 points, and one of them was J.D. Spielman, who got hurt and scored 2 points. I'm so mad.
This reminds me of like Matthew Berry last year. He had like some week where he needed Matt Breida to get him 1 yard to win his week, and he lost.
Yeah. Okay. You know what? I actually didn't look at this. I didn't look that closely. But let's see. If I had gotten 5 more yards from Joe Burrow, I would have got a point. Or 6 more yards from Joe Burrow, I would have got a point. If I had gotten 4 more yards from Devin Duvernay, I would have had. Is it Devin? Yeah, it's Devin Duvernay.
Devin?
I'm gonna say if I had gotten 4 yards from him, that would have been another point. If I had gotten 1 receiving yard more from Jalen Reagor, that's a win. It's just so disappointing. So disappointing.
And that's
guys.
fantasy for you.
Yep.
Josh and I are now tied at 4-2 with BK at 3-3, and Lyles still remains
0-7.
1-5.
Oh.
I just want you guys to know I'm going to sneak into the playoffs as a 4 seed, win 2 in a row, and take this league, considering all 4 teams make the playoffs.
Now listen to how close this is. Total points on the season. So I think this is week 7 upcoming. I've scored 1,162.85 points, where Josh has scored 1,161.43. So I got a 1 point edge on Josh. I got that 1 seed. Brady at least is only 1 game back, but Lyle, you got a lot of ground to make up, bud.
Do I? I only have to win 2 in a row at the end of the year.
That's true, yeah, because it's a 4-team playoff with 4 teams in the league.
Did you win your first game by 14? Or did you beat an opponent? Whatever your NFL reasoning is.
I got to be honest with you. I didn't. But
Ooh.
We're going to see if that applies in college football fantasy, because it says college, BK.
Oh, you're right, it is.
All right, so this upcoming week, it's going to be a dandy, and we'll just see what happens next week, and we'll see who's in first place. Now, one final thing, guys, before we start talking about college football, and that is that we have a giveaway that we are doing now. For all those gentlemen out there. Now, guys, I know how hard we got to work to impress our ladies. Am I right, Josh?
No!
Well, Josh works very hard to impress his lady friend. Well, boys, not only can you impress your lady friend with your extensive college football knowledge,
I don't.
but you can impress her with Manscaped. Now, we over here at the Harris Highlight Show are going to be giving away the Perfect Package 2.0. Now, with the Perfect Package 2.0, you'll get the Lawnmower 2.0, the Crop Preserver, the Crop Reviver, as well as a very nice-looking travel bag, a $75 value for absolutely nothing. You get this for free. You get this for free. Now, guys, I know what you're saying. How do I get this awesome package for free? Well, I'll tell you how you get it for free. All you got to do is go over to Twitter, follow our Twitter account at the HH Show _, and follow the official Manscaped Twitter account. I believe it's just at Manscaped. Hit them with the follow, and next month in November, we are going to be randomly selecting 1 follower, and we are going to be giving away the Perfect Package 2.0. Now, you can keep this for yourself for the holiday season, because we all know during the holiday season, you need to use Manscaped the most, or you can give this to that special someone, maybe a family member, maybe an older brother, maybe your father. Who knows? You can give it as a gift. You'll be the ultimate son. You'll be the cousin of the year, the son of the year, the brother of the year, whatever that may be. So if you want to win the Perfect Package 2.0, go follow us on Twitter, follow Manscaped on Twitter, or if you guys just want to win this right now, or not win this right now, if you guys just want to get the Perfect Package right now, go on over, the link's going to be in the description of this video below, and you can get 20% off your entire purchase on Manscaped.com with free shipping if you use the promo code BH20. So we're saving money, we're giving away a nice gift, and I'm currently checking my phone right now. Brady, what you want me to say is the slogan for Manscaped. You know what? Manscaped.com. If you nip your sack, send it back. That's their motto right there. So Manscaped.com, if you want to win that, go follow those Twitters. All the information is going to be in the description below. But guys, it is time to talk college football after all that.
We're going to get kicked off this radio station again.
After all of that. So let's talk some college football. As always, we're going to quickly talk about the AP poll. It came out, some questionable things, but we're going to do something a little different this week. Last week, we gave our top 4 teams who we thought at the moment are the best 4 teams in the country. But now, as if we are voting in the AP poll, which Lyle, I think, said they should let us vote in the AP poll, we're going to give our current top 10. If we were to have a vote tonight, we're going to say what our top 10 would be. Now, we don't have to go and say, this is 1, this is 2, this is 3. You just say, from 10 to 1, this is who I got. Then we can, argue with each other, give each other's thoughts, give some opinions. I'm sure they're all going to be different, but we're going to be given our own personal top 10 because in a few minutes, I'm going to be telling you guys some of the votes from some other people. Let's just say a guy from Hawaii has the absolute craziest top 10 of any AP poll I've ever seen, and I don't think ours could be any worse. So, Josh, I'm going to kick it off to you. You're voting this week. How's your top 10 look?
We're not going in order again, like one by one.
Nope, just 10 through 1. 10 through 1.
All right, so I'm going to count down. I'm going to count up from 1 because I feel like the top 3 the top 2 aren't really that big of an issue right now. So for number 1, I've got Alabama. Number 2, Clemson. Number 3, I have Ohio State for me jumping from 4 to 3 because last week we gave our top 4 teams. And mine from last week, just for some context, were Bama at 1, Clemson at 2, Ohio State at 3, and Georgia at 4. So I have Ohio State remaining at number 3, and I'm keeping Georgia at 4. The one that I'm leaving out again is LSU. I just, they played Utah State this week, and I just don't think that's enough for me to have them jump over either Ohio State or Georgia when they both beat Power 5 teams. Oklahoma at 6, Wisconsin at 7. I am putting Florida at 8 for the only because we're gonna go with that. How's that sound? Only because they beat Auburn. After this week, we'll touch on it. I have questions about Auburn. I don't think Florida's very good, and I'm going to leave it at that for now. I have Florida at 8, and it's only because they beat one of the top teams in the country, at least in terms of the AP poll. Notre Dame at 9, till they lose to Keaton Slovis this week. And I've got Penn State at 10, because I'm starting to buy in on Penn State, guys. I'm actually on board with the Nittany Lions, at least for now. I want to see them play a top Big Ten team. They got Michigan in 2 weeks, so I'm excited for that one.
Yeah, my list is pretty similar. I've got Bama at 1, where it changed a little bit. I got Ohio State at 2, Georgia at 3, LSU at 4. Like Blake and I were talking about last week with Clemson, it's the same argument here about they haven't been that impressive yet. So for that reason, I'm going to have them at 5. Sooners at 6, Wisconsin at 7, Florida at 8, Notre Dame at 9, and then Penn State at 10. Same thing. Yeah, they're 5-0, but they have not had a single really impressive win yet over any type of noteworthy team. So they'll be around that 10 spot until they do.
Mine 1 through 10, I have Bama 1, Clemson at 2. I have Ohio State making the jump to 3. Unlike you guys, I'm going to put LSU at 4. Going to drop Georgia out of this. Georgia's going to go to 5. Oklahoma at 6. I got Florida at 7. The Swamp's a tough place to play. They showed that this past weekend. Big win, so I'm moving Florida up and up. They're going to be up there. I have Wisconsin at, what would that be, 8, Penn State at 9, Notre Dame at 10. So I'm flipping Penn State, Notre Dame, just for the fact that Notre Dame's got that one loss. That's the only reason I'm having them at 10 instead of higher up in the poll.
All right, I like it. I'm going to shake things up with mine, as I always do. With number 1, I'm going with Ohio State. At number 2, I'm going with LSU. Number 3, I'm going with Georgia. At 4, I got Oklahoma. At 5, I got Bama. Number 6, I got Florida. Number 7, I got Wisconsin. At number 8, I got Clemson. At number 9, I got Penn State. And rounding out my top 10, I got Auburn at 10. And there you go.
Cute.
Yeah.
Awesome.
You have Auburn at 10.
It was between them and Notre Dame. And what I looked at it was, okay, so Auburn, they did lose to a Florida team, which I think I might be on board that Florida might not be overrated. They actually might be a very good football team.
They also beat a team that's going to go undefeated and go to the playoff.
I mean, they still technically, although, I mean, they still got 2, top 25 wins, whereas, Notre Dame, as of now, they did lose a close game to Georgia, but I think overall Auburn's wins have been more impressive than Notre Dame's. But like I said, I have Notre Dame at 11. It was just who goes where, but that's how I rounded about. Guys, we talked about this as well. You have to talk about what teams have done so far. And I got Clemson at 8. Obviously, we've talked about how they're one of the best teams in the country, but they've done absolutely nothing this year.
Where do you have Bama?
I have Bama at 5.
Okay.
I have Bama at 5. Now, again, Ohio State, they've looked like the most complete team this season. LSU, they've looked, fairly dominant as well, and they have a great win over the number 11 Texas team. Georgia, you can make the case that Georgia's maybe even 1 or 2 based off the season they've had so far, and I think Oklahoma, they've been too good as well. So I got Bama at 5. I think it's just, again, I think Bama's probably the best team overall in the country, but at this point, you take all preseason bias out of the equation. I just think that's where you have to put Bama right now. And then again, Florida, I'm finally impressed by them. I'm finally going to jump on board. Wisconsin, they've just looked absolutely dominant. Now, granted, if you take Jonathan Taylor out of the equation, who knows how good of a football team they really are. And then Penn State, they're still undefeated. They looked good. I think, what was it, last week we talked about how they're one of the best defensive teams in the country quietly. And then, like I said, Auburn, Notre Dame. It was kind of just flipping those two for me, but I gave the slight edge to Auburn.
Well, I guess Auburn has 2 ranked wins, so that's fair.
Yeah, that's why. I mean, that's the sole reason right there. Now, looking at the current AP poll, I mean, Alabama leads the way with 32 first-place votes, Clemson 15. Ohio State and Georgia, they were tied for 3rd this week, so there's no number 14. Now, granted, Ohio State, they had 10 first-place votes compared to Georgia with 3, so I guess a lot of people had Georgia more, higher in their rankings for them to tie. But it's interesting. It's just interesting looking at these AP polls because I want to talk about this one that I found. Now, this comes from Dave Reardon, who currently is a beat reporter at the Honolulu Star-Advertiser. His top 10 guys is Georgia, Florida, Ohio State, Oklahoma, LSU, Wisconsin, then Bama, then Clemson, followed by Notre Dame and Auburn.
That's like the most anti-East Coast bias ranking I've ever heard.
He's pretty bold there.
He's definitely one of the guys that ranks teams based off of the teams that they beat, but which explains why Auburn is still ranked in the top 10, and it's because they beat Oregon. And then you have Florida at 1 because, okay? Florida was at 1, right?
No, Florida was at 2.
So who's 1?
Georgia.
Oh, so Georgia's at 1 because he thinks Notre Dame's good, and then Florida. I mean, so if you pull up Florida's schedule, obviously they have the Auburn win, which I think is notable, and they've got LSU coming up. But then if you look, Miami, Kentucky, you know what? Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he just picked Florida to be number 2. Because they have one good win, and it's Auburn, and Auburn did not look very good at all.
It's just really fun looking at these because you look at each team, it has the highest and lowest they were ranked. Whereas Alabama, the lowest they ranked was 7th. Clemson, the lowest they were ranked was 8th. So people have Georgia ranked at 7. People have Ohio State ranked at 6. LSU, the lowest they're at 7. And it's just fun seeing where teams the highest are. Someone's got Penn State at 7. Someone's got Notre Dame at 7. Someone has Auburn at 8. Texas at 8. I'm trying to find something that's really outlandish.
Oh, it's because Florida beat Towson. That's why they're number 2.
Someone had Arizona State at 15. 2 voters.
Think about this. If ASU didn't lose to Tony Brown, who is Tony Brown? If ASU didn't lose to Tony Brown in Colorado, they could be legitimately a top 15, maybe a top 13 team right now.
They'd probably be right at 11, to be honest with you. They'd probably be at 10 or 11. They're 5-0.
They would be. Looking at some of this as well, some people have Virginia at 14, Wake Forest at 15, Baylor, and Memphis all the way up at 14. Man, this just goes to show they give anyone with an AP poll ballot. They can do whatever they want.
Who is Tony Brown?
You're done, Virginia.
Yeah.
Hey, currently SC at 3-2. Someone has them at 22 in their AP poll.
Yeah, and that's a thing. I'm actually not surprised to see that at all because if you look at SC's wins, now you've got a win against a top 20 Utah team at home when they were the number 10 team in the country. You also have a absolutely dominant win over Stanford at home, and Stanford just beat UW. And then your losses are BYU, and you went to overtime, and your quarterback did not look very good, threw for 3 interceptions. And then you go up to Washington, and what was an extremely winnable football game at Washington. They threw an interception in the end zone. The game could have been very different. So, I don't know. SC's tough, and I think we'll talk about that later, but SC's tough for me right now. I have no idea.
If you want to look at everyone's vote, just go to collegepolltracker.com, and you can check out everyone's AP poll votes. Someone voted for U of A at 21. Someone's got Iowa State at 23. Someone's got Cal at 19. So it's kind of fun to see exactly who's putting teams where. So it's a lot of fun. I spent a nice 20, 30 minutes on it earlier. But, guys, it's time to talk about some of the games from this past week. Now, Brady, I do have some bad news for you. Some really bad news.
What's up, bud?
Bo Nix is no longer in the Heisman conversation.
Yes, and Oregon's going to win the national championship, go undefeated.
I think these guys can attest to it, that Oregon has a better chance.
So I'm the only person that gets, whenever they get something wrong in the show, gets scrutinized for it. Blake, in episode 1, said Oregon is going to go to the playoffs, be undefeated all the way. What happens week 1 to Oregon?
Collapsed.
Undefeated no more. No.
He's lost his privileges.
No, there you go.
Hello?
Dude, I gotta be honest. I'm completely with BK on this.
Okay, no.
I'm
Okay, I think
completely
these
with BK.
guys can back me up. Oregon has a better chance to be in the college football playoff than Bo Nix does to win the Heisman. Or even be in the Heisman conversation.
Yeah, I'll give you that.
Again, if they just would have squeaked by Auburn, Oregon would be currently ranked probably right now in the top 6 or 7. The way the Pac-12 is, Oregon's going to finish the season undefeated. Had they just beaten Auburn, it would have been a great pick. And I still think if Oregon can go undefeated and just have a few things go their way, they're still going to be in the college football playoff.
No.
Yeah, oh, yes. Yes,
Not
indeed.
not even one time, Blake.
Nope.
Not even close.
Okay, well, that take is still not as bad as Bo Nix. I'm trying to think, guys, what's worse? Bo Nix
The
or
Josh Rosen thing.
Wilson Spate?
The Josh
Where's my
Josh
mic?
Rosen
There's
thing.
my mic. Anyway, BK, Bo Nix, as I predicted, had a very nice line of 11 for 27, 1 touchdown, 3 interceptions, 145 passing yards, and a QBR of 6.6. Now, he did gain 18 yards on the ground, but that was on 10 carries. So, Bo Nix, he falls out of the Heisman race, and Florida is, guys, again, we were not high on Florida. We thought they were ranked too high to begin with. They get a very good win over a very good Auburn team. But, I mean, again, now, granted, when Lyle and I were watching the game, every time Bo Nix was even dropping back to throw the ball, we were saying, oh, God, what is going to happen now? So, Bo Nix did kind of give the game to the Gators. I will give him that. But still a very, very, very good performance from Florida. And I guess overall, what were your thoughts? Because there were a lot of people last week that were saying Auburn should have been in our top 4 for playoff teams, because at the time last week, they were ranked 7. They had some of the best wins in the country. If they would have beaten Florida, they easily could have been a top 4 team. That's not the case anymore. So, wow, what a game.
We talked. I talked about Kyle Trask on the show a few weeks ago, and kind of what his deal was as the backup quarterback coming in for Felipe Franks, and I mean, I saw enough to think that Florida's going to be okay under him, but I mean, with LSU coming up this week, that makes me question a lot of things about this team and about Kyle Trask. But for the most part, he looked pretty solid against an Auburn team that has a pretty good defense. Trask looked good. Bo Nix was the opposite of that. Blake, you can just tell BK with a little hand motion that you want to take a sip of your drink, like I do like 9 times a show, and it never shows up on the air because because Brady mutes my mic.
Sorry, I just went back and found something from our first episode. Here's this.
Justin Fields. And at number 5, guys, I got a name that no one had, that barring, their team collapses, I got De'Ara King at 5.
The dude played 3 games.
That's pretty bad, too.
It's my fault that he decided after 3 games, I'm going to sit out the rest of the season. That's not really a cool take exposed when the guy plays 3 games and sits out.
That's fair.
I mean, okay.
He had 50 total touchdowns last season. Yeah, I don't know how that's a bad take at all.
I mean,
he had 50 touchdowns last season.
Okay, so let's see here. He had a completion percentage of 50%, 663 yards, 6 touchdowns, 2 picks. I mean, he was all right.
And how many did he have on the ground?
How many rushing touchdowns?
Probably a few rushing. So he probably played 3 games, had a total of 10 touchdowns.
Rushing touchdowns. He had. Is this last? We had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He had 6 rushing touchdowns.
So he had 12 touchdowns in 3 games, and then he decided, you know what, I'm not going to play the rest of the season. Nice try, Brady, but maybe next time. Josh, you may continue talking now.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear a word you just said. No, like quite literally, I was just listening to this.
Well, Josh just proved my point. Bama, Michigan,
Nebraska,
and Oregon. So Michigan, I got wrong, but gotta be hot somehow, right?
Okay.
You said at the end, there's got to be a hot take somewhere, right?
Well, I mean, if I'm not mistaken, Josh, I don't think he had him in his playoff, but he had Michigan winning the Big Ten.
I think Josh might have had Michigan in his playoff.
I don't know if I did, but I had Michigan winning the Big Ten.
So,
they
probably were in his playoff. So, hey, Michigan still has 1 loss. If they beat Ohio State, win out the rest of the season. If they beat Notre Dame. Oh, if Michigan and Oregon somehow find their way into the college football playoff, you guys are going to owe me the biggest apology known to man.
Yeah, I
It's
think you
happening.
said that last year when you said that Vanderbilt could beat Bama.
No,
Anyway,
I
we'll
said
move on now. Welcome to the Josh
We're
Schaefer
really-
highlight show.
We're really digging up some old.
I said, now, granted, this was after Vanderbilt got a very nice, impressive win, where the spread going into the game was like Bama was favored by 20. Yet I said,
Blake, who cares? Anyway,
Vanderbilt is going to keep
So,
the game
I was
close.
talking about the 24-13 Florida win over Auburn, and the problem with it, we obviously already mentioned, Bo Nix going 11 for 27 with 3 interceptions is not good. But I mean, Auburn's offense as a whole, I get that the interceptions put Florida in or gave them great opportunities to score, and they took advantage of it. But when you've got Jartavius Whitlow rushing for 81 yards, and he's pretty much all you've got offensively, and then I just don't know. I mean, Florida was able to run the ball pretty well. The passing game wasn't flat. I'm just not sold on Florida. If anything, I'm asking more questions about Auburn than I am with Florida.
I think Florida's going to be better than they've been in years past, but I still don't think it's going to be over the top. They can compete with Bama, have a chance to get in the playoff. They could lose 2-3 games. I think they're going to be a 9-10 win team for that matter. I don't really think they stand a chance against LSU or Georgia for that matter. I think those two teams are just simply a step above where Florida's at. Although Kyle Trask was very, very, he got the job done. He was solid. I think that's a fair way to put it. And Michael P. Ryan ripped off that one run. So I think Florida's going to be about a 9-10 win team. I just don't think they're quite top 5, 6 type material.
What's crazy is that I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, no, you can go.
No, I was saying what's crazy is that Florida's the 4th best team in the SEC, and they're currently ranked 7th.
Yeah, I mean, look, they're a good team, but obviously the SEC's loaded every year, and I just don't think they quite have the offensive pieces to hang with some of these other SEC foe like Bama, who they would hypothetically play if they got to the SEC title game, probably, or like LSU and Georgia, who are on their schedule. To go away from Florida to go to Auburn now. I know there's a little bit of Blake bashing. I'm going to give him a little bit of support here
thanks,
in the
dog.
sense of
Boo.
Bo Nix was 11 for 27, like Blake said, 145 yards and 3 picks. I'm now going to rattle off a few names here because there are a few true freshman starting quarterbacks in the country. Hank Bachmeier is better than Bo Nix. Jaden Daniels is better than Bo Nix. Sam Howell is better than Bo Nix. And Keaton Slobus is better than Bo Nix. This guy was absolutely brutal to watch against a Florida team that, sure, they have a really good defense, but you complete 11 passes in a game where you're asked to throw 27 times and take down a Florida team that would seriously help a resume of an Auburn team that's looking to get back into the playoff, that's looking to really compete in the SEC again. They clearly now, at least to that level, are not going to do it. Maybe Bo Nix gets better in 1-2 years' time, but it was tough, excruciating to watch that guy play quarterback this past weekend. He could not... Dude, he looked like a lost soul out there.
I agree with you, but also if you go back, okay, so let's just look back at his game so far this season, though. I mean, I agree with you.
Well, because the Oregon game, he was terrible until that last drive.
He was terrible until that last drive, and so he threw 3 picks last game, not good, and then he threw 2 picks in the first half of that Oregon game, which were not good. He then went 1, 2, 3, 4 games without throwing an interception, and in that time had six touchdowns.
Well, when you're
and
playing
also,
Tulane and Kent State, I would sure hope
Tulane,
so.
Kent State, number 17, Texas A&M, Mississippi State, who's not a bad team. Like, I'll give him a little bit here, but this is also an offense that doesn't throw the ball a whole lot.
Now, granted, against Texas A&M, he did throw for a whopping
100 yards. He threw the ball 20 times.
Think about it this way. After doing a little bit of research, Bo Nix threw had more completions this past week combined than both Tua and Trevor Lawrence.
That's pretty good.
Think about that. Hey, think about that.
That is pretty good. I'm just saying. I agree with what Lyle just said about all of the freshman quarterbacks that are probably better than Bo Nix, and I really do 100% agree. I just think playing devil's advocate, it's worth considering that they don't throw the ball a whole lot, and they're not a very good offensive team in general compared to their defense.
That's fair. That's fair.
Now, some other games that are notable, and I know Brady's going to let me hear this for this one, but as the only one to predict that the Cincinnati Bearcats would upset the UCF Knights, I just would like to gladly say, well done. But now, I did say they were only going to win because of the black field.
Yes.
So technically, my my reasoning is a little off.
So-
Nevertheless, they still did win.
So as soon as we talked about that on the show, one of my good friends from high school, he's one of the video managers at Cincinnati, and I sent him a text and asked him, like, did they hand paint the field or what exactly happened? He's like, I hate to break it to you, but it's not actually a black field. Our social media manager thought they made it so crazy that people like wouldn't know it was fake, which was so
but everyone
disappointing.
believed it. We fell for it. That's okay. But hey, we also fell for UCF being a good team this season.
That's
And they're
true.
not.
I mean, I didn't really fall for it, but okay.
So UCF, well, your time in the top 25 is done. You had a good run, and
Play
well,
somebody else.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's all you got to say.
I mean, look, like it's tough to win a game when your quarterback throws 3 picks. It was tough for Auburn to do that. When Bo Nix threw 3 interceptions, it was tough for UCF to do that when their quarterback Dylan Gabriel threw 3 picks. This is something that, like, we've talked about a few times on the show. Talked about it with my roommates a handful of times because one of them is dumb and continues to say that UCF is back-to-back national champions. I know he's half kidding. He's also the guy that responds on our Twitter saying that where's Rutgers in the AP poll? Look.
Towards the bottom.
Yes, UCF is not as good as they were the last 2 years. They're fine. They're a good team. They'll be competitive. They'll probably beat everybody else on their schedule. But something that I mentioned earlier on this show a few episodes ago was that there is one Group of 5 team that I think is really competitive this year and will probably play in a New Year's Six bowl game, and it's Boise State without a question. I'm going to throw Cincinnati in there too. I think they look pretty good. They have a couple of big wins this year already. Obviously, they got trounced by Ohio State. But look, like, I think Boise State and Cincy are the 2 Group of 5 teams to beat, and I would not put UCF in the same conversation right now.
I like it. I like it a lot.
And like I've said it, Boise State's schedule's not that tough. They should be able to go 12-0 and put themselves in the New Year's Six conversation.
Yeah,
and really lock
not
in a
only
spot.
is their schedule not that tough, I just think they're that good though too. They could
Well, it's a
legitimately
combination of
dominate.
both.
They could legitimately dominate every single team on their schedule.
I mean, looking at their schedule the rest of the way, the toughest game, I guess, is going to be on the road at BYU, and I guess maybe a home game against Wyoming, on the road at Utah State. Yeah, the rest of their schedule is very winnable. Hey, Boise State in the playoffs?
Lyle, did you say that Bachmeier was the best freshman quarterback earlier, or were you just listing a bunch of good freshmen?
So there were 4 true freshmen to start opening night. It was Jaden, Bo, Howell, and Bachmeier, and then Slovis came in, a
After
couple
that.
plays into game 1.
Yes,
but I mean, Bachmeier's up there. If it's not him, Sam Howell's been pretty good. Jaden's obviously been pretty good. I'd probably say it's Bachmeier to this point, though.
He's the most explosive at this point.
Yeah. But Boise State, something to keep your eye on. Some other notable games, Michigan bounced back with a thrilling, and I mean thrilling, 10-3 victory over the Iowa Hawkeyes. Lyle and I, we were glued to our TV. We couldn't be separated from it just from the exciting matchup that was Michigan-Iowa, 10-3, Lyle. No points scored in the second half.
I don't remember who I was with, but I said to them that was the most Big Ten football game I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Didn't you guys on the show? Somebody last week on the show said the game was going to end 10-7, and it ended 10-3.
I think I might have said that.
I
to
think
be
Blake
honest.
said that last week.
Oh.
I mean, okay,
Wow,
so
Blake, you were wrong with the score. You should be chastised.
I should.
What happened, Blake? We went to go get lunch at like the start of the second half. We come back with like 5 minutes left in the fourth quarter, and there's still not been a point scored in the second half.
That's about right.
So here, did you guys see the end of the game?
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
So I'll be totally honest. I listened to a majority of this game. I listened to the Michigan radio broadcast. But when they had the ball on the last possession and Stanley was getting sacked, did he like switch hands with the ball and throw it with his other hand accurately?
Dude, I'll be honest. We watched that like entire end of that fourth quarter. I don't even remember.
No.
So-
I think he's right.
Yeah,
I think there was like a near like heroic play on fourth down where he
I
tried
think
to
I remember
switch
this
arms
now.
and try to like flip it or throw it with his left
Yeah,
hand. But it didn't work.
The Michigan broadcasters were raving about it, about how if he had gotten a first down on that, it would have been like this huge play. But look, Michigan's defense, again, like I know what Blake and I both said at the beginning of the year about Michigan, and it's looking like we aren't right, and especially after that Wisconsin game.
Not right yet.
I'm starting to buy back in on Michigan's defense.
Yes.
Just for now, just the defense, because obviously
Yes.
the offense ain't getting it done. They did have like 6 different guys rush for like at least 20 yards this past week or something wild like that, which I think is something in terms of the running game. But I don't know. I don't think Iowa's a slouch. I don't think Nate Stanley's a slouch. But Michigan's defense allowing 3 points, I think that's massive, and I think it's a huge way to bounce
They were
back.
fantastic for my fantasy team this week.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Now, I will say, with a win on the road at Penn State, a win at home against Notre Dame, and a win at home against Ohio State. My Michigan
You're asking
Wolverines,
for a lot.
my Michigan Wolverines will be in the playoff.
Your Michigan Wolverines.
Yes.
It's great.
Now,
To
finally,
be
just to
a
wrap
Michigan Wolverine.
things up, as we do every week, we ask ourselves, why Pac-12? Why? Well, this just goes to show that literally this is the most balanced conference in the country because Stanford beats Washington by 10 at home. Washington, their season's already pretty shafted anyway. Now it's officially shelled. What? And well, I just want to talk about this for a minute. Then we can mention the other Pac-12 game that we are in shock by. But Stanford, who struggled to beat Oregon State a week prior, they beat UW by 10. And in UW season, what?
Yeah, I mean, so look, UW has 2 losses this year, and they were both winnable games. And it's the Stanford game, and it's the Cal game. First of all, that Cal game, that was a nuts game. I think if they played again right now, I think Washington wins the game. I think Washington's better than Cal. I think Cal's a good football team. I think Washington's better. But I know that other people think that this makes the Pac-12 look terrible. I love it. I think it's awesome. Like, great. I would love if there was a really dominant team in the North that was in the top 10 and a really dominant team in the South that was in the top 10. Just really, really good. That'd be great. And if everyone else was good, but this is a little bit much. I still like it because it's just chaotic and, the Pac-12 just wants to burn down the house. I think it's great, but I don't know what that means for the conference moving forward. I mean, did you guys see that tweet this week? There was a tweet that was like, based off of it was a fake tweet. They were like, based off of very serious analysis, here's what we've predicted the schedules to be for every Pac-12 team. And the top 3 or the top 2 teams in each division were 5-4, and everybody else was 4-5. It's just, it's comical, honestly, at this point. It's like a Shakespeare comedy of errors. We're getting literary in here, boys.
It's tough. I mean, Washington scored 3 points in the second half. Jake Eason's a guy I've given a lot of praise to, but he had a tough game against a Stanford team that I just simply don't think is that sharp this year. I know it was at Stanford. I know Washington had to go on the road and play
nothing.
in Palo Alto. I know, but that's
that means
exactly
nothing.
but
There were 10 people there.
I was going to say, it's not like Stanford has a huge crowd showing out every weekend, and they just couldn't get much going. I mean, they had less than 100 yards on the ground. Aaron Fuller had a monster game, but almost nobody else got involved in the passing attack. And then they just couldn't really convert it into points. I mean, 13 points against the Stanford team that, again, up to this point had really struggled. They lost 3 straight, including getting embarrassed by UCF. They put up 6 points against Oregon. I mean, like Josh said, this conference is just chaotic, and like Blake said, it might be the most balanced one of all.
And just when you thought it couldn't get any worse, oh, it did, because the Oregon State Beavers beat the UCLA Bruins 48-31. Now, guys, Oregon State was beating UCLA 21-0 with 9 minutes left in the first quarter. Now, I predicted Oregon State winning 1 game this season. I believe the over-under for wins was 2.5 this season, so they've already hit that. UCLA, a few weeks ago, we were saying, are they back? They got a great win against Washington State, and things are officially going downhill. In the Pac-12 North, Washington and Washington State are at the bottom of the division, with Arizona at the top of the South, with SC and Colorado following them. This Pac-12, now granted, it's not. You think it's not that good. Again, it just shows that we're so right. It's the most balanced conference. We're now officially, with Oregon State winning this game, any team can beat any team on any given night.
Yeah, there's roughly 50-50 chance you either win or you lose.
Also,
That's true. That's an excellent point.
Also, let's not pretend UCLA is Alabama here.
That's true. Now, granted, though, a few weeks ago, they picked up a great road win on the road to Wazoo, which is a tough place to pick up wins over the last few seasons. We were thinking UCLA's back, and, well, they're not. They're 1-5. So, but, hey, looking at this right now, aside from UCLA, everyone's competitive in the Pac-12. I'm going down this list right now of wins and losses. 4-1, 3-3, 2-3, 4-2, 4-2, 4-1, 3-2, 3-2, 4-1, 4-1. That's huge. Balance. As Thanos once said, what is it? I'm restoring balance. I'm bringing balance. We have an intern in studio that's a huge Marvel fan. I'd ask him for his thoughts on Thanos, but unfortunately his mic's not on. But
I just know he says, I am inevitable.
I am inevitable, just like Pac-12 games. They are inevitable. So it's time to move on from games this past week until Josh has one final thought.
Really quickly, and here's we have given, I guess, me and Blake a lot, but in general, we've given UCLA a really hard time about some of the crowds that they've been getting out there. And look, like, it's embarrassing. It's really bad. I'm going to give UCLA credit where credit is due. This season, I think they rank 11th out of 12 teams in the conference for home support. Stanford hosted Washington this week, a ranked team, and drew 30,000 people.
33,225 to be exact.
Yes, and I think that's generous. Granted, UCLA is announcing a crowd of 48,000, which I think is generous, but like, have you guys seen some of these crowds for the Stanford games?
Oh, they're sad. I mean,
they're really bad.
They've always known to have a pretty bad attendance.
It's bad. I mean, the bottom teams in the Pac-12 this year are like some of the bottom teams in like the ACC that just get nobody there.
Here's this: UCLA had 48,000 there.
Yeah, they 48,532. I don't know if that's accurate, but hey, I mean, that's just over 50% of the stadium. That's
not ideal. Not ideal. I love Pac-12 football. It's the best kind of football there is. But, guys, moving on now, I think what Lyle mentioned earlier about some teams being undefeated. Now, there are a few undefeated teams left that aren't some of the powerhouse teams. I'm just going to go over a few of them, and I'm just going to ask you guys who you've been most either impressed or shocked by the fact that they're still undefeated on the season. So now these are the teams that are currently 5-0. Boise State, Baylor, Minnesota, Memphis, and Wake Forest, with SMU being 6-0. So out of those teams, which team, again, are you the most shocked / impressed by at this point of the season?
Oh, I'll go first with this. I don't know how in the world Minnesota's 5-0. Up until this Illinois win, every single one of their wins had been by a score or less. And to go even deeper on that, they beat South Dakota State by 7, Fresno by 3, Georgia Southern by 3, and then at Purdue by 7. But
they should have lost that Fresno game.
Those first 3 games, man. You want to go right there. First game, South Dakota State, they beat by 7 points.
Hey, man, those Jackrabbits are a good team.
That is tough.
I am definitely most impressed with Boise State. Like I said, I think they're the Group of 5 team that I think is going to play in a New Year's Six Bowl this year. And we talked a little bit about Wake Forest last week. And you know, wins over Utah State by 3 points. That's not bad. They beat Rice. North Carolina, I don't think is a bad win. They beat Elon and then Boston College. We talked about their schedule last week, and we all kind of said, oh, yeah, you know, they'll probably lose a game here or there, which they probably could, and they're going to lose to Clemson, obviously. But, like, with how disappointing the ACC is as a conference this year, I mean, Louisville, Florida State, North Carolina State, Virginia Tech, forget about Clemson, Duke, and Syracuse. They could legitimately go 11-1 this year. I don't think they're the best team in the ACC outside of Clemson, but there is a legitimate chance that Wake Forest goes 11-1 with their only loss coming to Clemson. And that's crazy
and look
to
at
think
that.
about.
They're not getting any votes in the AP poll. They're not getting like any
Aren't they
votes
19th?
in the coach. Oh wait, what am I saying? What am I saying?
They're 19th.
My bad.
Yeah.
Yes, I mean you're right. I mean they might have a chance to have a double-digit win season.
What I am a little bit concerned about is I think that maybe moving forward, the more if they continue to win games, I think that Wake Forest in a Power 5 conference is going to start being treated like a Group of 5 team moving forward that's just really good and beats everyone, because I just don't think people are going to really acknowledge the fact that they could potentially be 8-0 in a few weeks and not really have any huge wins. Kind of like what some Group of 5 teams did. I mean, think about a couple years ago, UCF, and they were still, 16 come like week 9 or something? I think Wake Forest could be that.
Am I up or okay?
You're up.
I'm just used to going after Lyle. So in my mind, I think obviously Boise State's, I'm not going to say the most surprising, because I think we all sort of projected Boise State to be a 5-0 team. But you look at the Big Ten, Minnesota, all right, they're hit or miss every year. The one that looks to me as the most, I'd say, smoke screeny is Memphis. They're 5-0, all right? They beat Ole Miss 15-10.
Ooh.
And then they played, I don't even know who this is. Who'd they play week 2?
Sound it out.
It's Southern.
Ah, just Southern.
Yeah, it's like one of those created teams in NCAA. It's like Southern, Northern, Tech.
What about Eastern? How'd they do this week?
The Eastern did fine, but South, dude. Southern's real good. They beat Navy. They beat ULM. They beat USA. South Alabama. All right, cool. You're 23rd in the country right now, but you've beaten nobody. Ole Miss, maybe. Play a real opponent, then we'll talk.
I got 2 shout-outs right now. The first one's going to be Baylor, the fact that they're still 5-0. Guys, 2 seasons ago, Baylor finished the year at 1-11. They were the absolute worst team in D1 college football. Last year, they turned things around going 7-6. This year, they're probably going to win 8 or 9 games. So the fact that you go from a 1-win season to maybe a 9 or even 10-win season, that's fantastic. Now, I know Lyle's not high on this one, but SMU, they are 6-0. Now, granted, it hasn't been an impressive 6-0, but they have some good wins, especially this past week. I think they were down like 21 points in the fourth quarter, 1 in triple overtime. They're on pace to have, I don't have the rest of their schedule up, but I want to say they're going to finish the season with at least 8 to 10 wins. Since the year 1984, guess how many seasons SMU has won 8 games?
Well,
So this is going back to 1984.
Well, considering they had the death penalty
I'm gonna
for
say
a while,
none.
I'm going to guess. Yeah, I'm going to say 1. They had
Brady?
They had the death penalty.
Which team was that?
SMU.
How many seasons since 1984 have they won at least 8 games in a season?
Give me 1 second.
No, he's not asking you to
I'm
look.
asking
He's
to
asking you to
guess.
guess.
Yeah.
3.
1, and it came in 2011. So this is a team, I mean, historically, they're not that good. They've never really been that good, and
They
they're
were
already,
before the death penalty.
Yeah, well, that's... You love those death penalties, don't you? So, I
Yep.
mean, this is a team where, I mean, again, you look at their history going all the way back. It has not been pleasant. It has not been pleasant at all. They're 6-0 this season, and they have a chance to have their first double-digit win since, oh boy, let's see how far we got to go back. Well, I guess 1984 when they went 10-2. But aside from that stretch from 81 to 84, they did not win double digits like ever since 1935.
Like ever.
Well, so SMU, huge shout out to them there. But it's now time, guys. It's long overdue. The fans have been asking for it. They've been begging for it. It is time to officially bring back Uni Watch. Now, for those of you that have stuck around for a long time in our old shows, back when we didn't have cameras, every week we would go over our favorite uniforms from the past week. Well, now we're going to quickly go over our favorite uniforms from this past season so far. So, guys, it can be however many you want. I wrote about 4 to 5 down. It'll be interesting to see if we have some of the same ones, if we have some different ones, but... Josh, what have been some of your favorite uniforms you've seen in college football this season?
There's been a lot of them this year, but the ones that I want to talk about, I broke into 3 separate categories. Ooh. The first one, the best combination. This week, ECU came out with like these all black and purple uniforms. They were fantastic, and Blake, show the image now. Boom.
I will do it right now.
there. There's the image. The next one I like is what Oregon State wore this past week at UCLA. All whites with the black helmets. I think those are awesome. They rebranded this year. I think those are really cool. Best updated uniform for me, UCLA changed their face masks to like this metallic gold color to match the helmets. I think those are clean. I think those are so cool. I'm all in on UCLA's helmets. And then best new uniform, like I mentioned, Oregon State, Syracuse updated. I think those are cool. I like Washington's. I was not a huge fan of the Washington uniforms that they've worn the last few years, but this year they went back a little bit more classic, went to the purple, put some like kind of soft shoulder stripes.
Adidas rebrand too.
Yeah, they did an Adidas rebrand, and I'm a big fan of what Washington's doing this year because it's nothing super extra, and it's just bold, it's basic, it's classic, and I love everything about it.
So really quickly, if you're listening right now, hit us up on Twitter at the HHShow_. Let us know what your favorite jerseys are from this past week, from the whole season, or if there's a jersey that's currently coming up. Let us know what your thoughts are, and we'll share them live on the show.
I just had one, and I'm looking at the shout out to the Uniswag Instagram account, but
Major props to the Uniswag Instagram account.
TCU had these really nice jerseys. So it's like they got the white's the primary color on the jerseys. And it's like purple lettering. They got purple like dash marks throughout like the V-neck part or the neck part of the jersey. And they got black helmets with some outlined purple toward the center. I mean, I don't know. They were clean. They were really nice. If I had to pick one, TCU.
The TCU branding that they've had this year, they've had that same sort of the horned frog pattern on the neckline in all their different jersey colors, purple, white, and black so far. I have 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oklahoma State week 2, they went all gray with a matte gray helmet with like a metallic orange stripe. That just looks so clean, so smooth. I'm sticking with like a very dark trend because I like dark uniforms. Boise State week 4, they went blackout with orange and blue trim on everything, that metallic orange and blue that they do. So that was a really cool one. Ohio State, Hey, guess what? The all-black against Michigan State, I think those are some of the coolest uniforms in all of college football with the textured helmet. And, to be completely honest, disclaimer, I am still not a fan. This upcoming week, Purdue could have some of the coolest uniforms I've ever seen. 50th anniversary of the moon landing. Purdue has produced 25 people to go to space.
There you go.
As Blake was mimicking at me.
Blake does not believe the moon landing happened.
Oh, I thought you were talking about my Purdue fanhood. But okay, Blake.
Yes, we all know you're a diehard fan of Purdue, Brady.
Yes, whatever you say there, Blake.
He's right. When Blake and I were talking about this before the show, and they're awesome.
So people at UCF are getting all mad because of the moon landing pattern, but if you look at it, it directly resembles a spacesuit. So it's all white with the gold chrome face mask. I mean, you look at the first person on the moon, who was it? Yeah, he went to Purdue. So Purdue's got the right to do that. UCF can't get mad. I'm saying that's the best uniform in college football so far this year.
Yeah, I mean, you can't go wrong with anything that's in either a whiteout where it's just all white or anything that's all black. Those are always nice and clean. Some of the ones that I jotted down, I know they do it every year, but I think Josh said this as well. The purple LSU jerseys with the white helmets, those are scrumptious. SMU's been rocking some throwbacks this year with like the old. It has like a nice D on it because I think they play in Dallas and it's got the little Mustang I think on it. Those are some cool authentic ones. Now Brady talked about Boise State. I like the Boise State all orange. I mean, how many teams wear an all orange uniform? I thought that looked good. A few weeks ago when Tulane rocked those baby blues.
Oh yeah,
those were super nice and clean. And a few weeks ago Kentucky, not necessarily the uniforms, but when they had that chrome helmet. That was just straight, shiny silver. Mm-hmm. Ooh, you can't go wrong with the chrome helmet. Nobody's going to
put the new Michigan State ones in there?
Oh, unfortunately, no. But that's why we're going to go to our Twitter right now and see what some fans have to say. Saquon Vid said the Purdue uniforms this week are some of the sexiest jerseys I have ever seen. Ty Gellin said, I'm a big fan of the black Ohio State jerseys that were worn last week. This person, I can't pronounce the name, anything, and I mean anything, but those big lettered neon Michigan State jerseys. Good old buddy Andrew Coster says the Georgia Tech gray uniforms from last week. And would you look at this, Mason Klain, I don't know if there's any relation to Brady Klain on that. We'll have to get some confirmation from Brady.
Yes. Nope.
Says the ASU blackout uniforms.
Very much so. Thank you very much.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, intern Mason Klain.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Shout out to the intern. By the way, we have 3 interns in studio with us today. So if you're interested in interning for the show, DM your resume to Lyle, whose Twitter handle I believe is at Lyle. Lyle G13. So if you're interested in interning for the show in any capacity, send your resume to Lyle. List 5 reasons why we should take you, and yeah.
Cover letters are not necessary, but also recommended.
Yes, cover letters will be a great boost. So you don't need any experience.
References are big.
You can intern from your living room. You can intern from another state, another country, wherever you want to intern from. We don't need you guys to come in studio, but if you guys want to come in studio, we're not going to pay
for your own airfare.
You have to pay for your own travel.
And hotel.
Remember, this is not for credit. You can sleep on Blake's couch if you want.
No college credit. Yes, you can sleep on the couch.
No
Basically,
money.
It's not worth it at all.
You'll get a shout out on Twitter, maybe.
But hey,
maybe
Lyle will get you Chick-fil-A before the show with his M&G that he has.
No, big L.
How about that? How's that sound? That sounds like a fantastic deal. But guys, it's time to move on now to the Q&A. Brady, what is it, Brady?
I thought we were doing over under.
Oh no, not this week. There's just no time.
All right, it's fine.
But that's okay. So if you're interested in calling into the show, the number is 602-496-5156. Now, disclaimer: if you've called into the show in previous weeks,
I will hang up on you.
All we ask, Brady will politely hang up on you. We just ask that those that haven't been able to get through in the past get their chance. So if you called in either last week or in previous weeks, save it for a few weeks down the line. Like I said, that way we can get more callers into the show. I mean, every week Brady's got to hang up on different people. We got to have people on hold. There's just a bunch of callers to go through. So again, if you've called in the past, we ask that you maybe wait a week or two and hear from you then. So again, if you're interested in calling, the number is 602-496-5156. Now, I'm not tweeting it out because then we always get it right away, so we're going to wait for the delay of about 5 to 6 minutes. So we have a few minutes to go over some of these Q&A questions that we got right now. Moving down, the first one comes from Brian Reynolds, and he wants to know...
The actor?
That's Burt Reynolds.
I was thinking Ryan Reynolds.
Oh, boy.
It's Brian Reynolds. Brady.
Brian Reynolds, Brian with a B, wants to know, could a one-loss Pac-12 champ get into the playoffs against a one-loss SEC non-champion?
No way. No. Look, if you got Georgia with one loss or LSU with one loss compared to Oregon with one loss, I just don't think there's any way.
Yeah, I think it'd be tough to keep out a conference champion from the playoff, especially if they have one loss, but I think it would probably happen.
Oh, one-loss conference champion. It sounds a lot like Oregon. I'm not shocked you guys are keeping Oregon out.
You're going to lose to ASU.
That's true.
Week 11.
That's true.
They're going to lose to Oregon State in the Apple Cup.
Can you really look me in the eyes
That's
right now?
Washington.
Right now.
You're right.
What's the Civil War?
Civil War.
Say
okay.
you didn't make this pick, Blake. Can you look me in the eyes right now and say, I don't care if Oregon wins or not, but if Oregon wins, you can tell me they deserve to be in over a one-loss like Georgia team?
Hey, we'll see. We'll see what happens.
No. He said, Blake, you didn't hear him. He said, can you honestly give him an answer? Give him a straight answer.
That was the most politics. Defer it to the next question answer I've ever heard in my life.
I think, going back to that, we should just be proud that we get to watch so many great college football
Blake,
games.
we are running out of time. Either say yes or no. Thank you. All right, moving on.
There's my answer right there. I'm going to be so conflicted when ASU goes the rest of the season without winning a game or without losing a game, and Oregon's going to be ranked like 7th. ASU is going to be ranked like 9th. And I'm thinking, okay, great. Either ASU can win this game, they could possibly be in the Pac-12 title game, maybe even make the playoff, or do I need Oregon to win to somehow get my playoff pick correct? We'll wait and see. That's another month and a half down the line. The 20 Gauge wants to know, if all of your favorite teams had to switch conferences, which would you want them to go to? As a Wisconsin fan, I'd probably say the Big 12 and finally give them some defense in the conference. So, where would you want your team to move to? Or if you don't want to choose your team, you could choose any teams and just say, let's move them to this conference.
I don't know. I don't think you'd be able to have ASU or USC not in the Pac-12. I think if you were to move ASU anywhere, it'd be the Big 12, and I don't know what they would look like. But if I could move a team for a conference, it would be Notre Dame to the Big 10 and not the ACC.
Oh, well, thanks, Josh.
You're welcome.
Did you not think that's where I was going next?
Well, yeah, because I think you're going to say ACC because we've had this conversation 1,000 times, and I have always said Notre Dame should go to the Big Ten.
That's fair. I was just getting ready to say, and I have a wide range of options here for what to pick for my favorite team, considering they're not in a conference. Yeah, I'll go ACC.
They're in the independent.
That's true.
Why don't they just play BYU and like Army every week? They should just do that. They should do that.
That would be a fun time.
Every week.
All right, I'll say ACC. Yeah, you're right. We've had this conversation.
How great would it be to see the Indiana Hoosiers be MAC champions?
Oh, God.
Maybe they should be
They'd
putting
figure
them
out
back.
a way to lose.
Yeah, they would.
They'd lose to like Ohio.
You know what? I'm going to say this. I'm going to take Boise State and throw them in the Pac-12.
I like it.
See how they can work their magic there.
See, what I would do is I would take one team from the SEC, one team from the Pac-12, one team from the Big 10, one team from the Big 12, and I'd put them in the ACC.
Why not?
Because that conference is so bad, they need some competitive teams there.
Why not make a 6-power conference, take all the independents, and then take one team from every conference and make their own big conference?
We should take one team from each conference and push it somewhere else. Yeah.
Yes, Lyle.
No teams.
Yeah, no teams. There are no more teams. No conferences, no teams, but still college football.
Or we just create one huge super conference and then go back to the 64-team elimination style bowl series that we want to do.
We should have Champions League for college football.
Put Alabama against number 64. Oh, geez, I don't know who'd be in the middle of
North
the pack.
Dakota State, Southeastern
I will
Tech.
say on a little bit of a more serious note, I would be interested to see one of these like bottom feeder-ish SEC teams get put in a conference like the Pac-12 and see how they would do, because we always talk about, you know, who has the most balanced conference, who has the most even-leveled conference. I'd be interested to see a Vanderbilt or Tennessee play in the Pac-12 and see how they'd fare.
Now, I'm looking at our Twitter right now. We did get a tweet from Conman Artist who said these are going to be the uniforms that Maryland is going to be wearing against Michigan for homecoming, and these are fantastic. I'll see if I can put a picture.
Our listeners are loving this.
I'm going to see what it is, but it's an old-fashioned helmet spelled out Terps with some like cursive font.
Oh, they're the throwbacks.
Fantastic.
Yeah, the throwback Terps jerseys. Those are sick.
Absolutely fantastic. fantastic. Now, based off the caller, unfortunately, it looks like probably it's one of our frequent callers, so unfortunately, we're not going to be able to take those this week. So if you are interested in calling, though, I have to go back and find that number right now. I don't even know where it went. The number is 602-496-5156. I'm not sure if there's a phone line thing busy, because I had like 5 different people in my DMs earlier saying they'd love to call in the second I tweet that out. So
Did you tweet it out yet?
I did. I tweeted it out a few minutes ago, so who knows? Maybe the phone lines are too busy. They can't seem to go on right now. I'm going to go, though, and read some more Q&A questions while we wait for another caller right now. This should be a fun one. And this can be for either college or regular guys, but Will O'Farrell wants to know, who is the worst fantasy player that you currently have? Again, this could be on your college fantasy team or your regular NFL fantasy team.
Oh, man. I don't know about my NFL fantasy team because I don't know. There are some guys that I think are slumping that I'll be fine, but my Yahoo fantasy team, man, Jalen Reagor, I had such high hopes for this guy this season, and I gotta be honest, it might just because of Blake's dumb stats in this league, but you know what? He has not been very good for me this year. Let me pull up his actual stats. So he's got 186 yards on the season. And it's just not. It just ain't there for me, guys. Very disappointed. Also, Colin Johnson was hurt all year.
I'm gonna pull one out of the ESPN book here, but Jamar Jefferson, come on, man! As a freshman, this guy goes for 1,380 yards with 12 touchdowns, and he can't get anything going this year. I mean, he had the 23 points week 2. Aside from that, I mean, it has been tough to hold on to. I mean, he's ranked 408th now in fantasy. And the last 3 weeks, he's gotten, or 4 weeks, 0-0 because he didn't play. And then he got me 1 point and then 0.9 points. Yeah, he might be getting the drop pretty soon.
Before we answer this phone call, I would like to say, and come out saying now, the worst player on my fantasy team, he was dropped today. Bo Nix. I hate saying it.
You have to write him out, Brady.
No, I dropped him. I had to start him this last week because my quarterback that I originally picked up was out for the year with a broken shoulder. And then my good quarterback that I like to play, Trevor Lawrence, was on a bye. So I had to start Bo Nix, and he didn't do great. So I would officially like to declare at this moment right now, Bo Nix, you are out of my Heisman contention.
And he still beat me by less than a point.
BK, how many points did he put up? I actually don't know.
Oh, give me 1 second. I'll find
Well,
that
I'm going to
out.
look at mine right now. And mine has to be, without a doubt, my first pick in both the leagues, where one I picked him 2nd overall, the other I picked him 4th overall. That's Rondale Moore. I get he's out right now, but on the season, he's put up only 29 catches for 400 yards and 2 touchdowns. That is unacceptable, especially when I'm taking him number 2 overall. Also, shout out to Adrian Martinez, who week 1 was projected to get me like 50 points. The next week, then he gave me 5 points. Projection-wise, he gives me he's supposed to be 35 to 40 every week. I don't think he's top 20 this year. So Adrian Martinez, he's been an absolute bust as well.
I started Bo Nix in our other league. He put up 7 points for me.
Oh, yeah, I was going to say, because this week you put in Sam Ellinger and Kelly Bryant.
Yeah,
Yikes.
that was a good matchup.
Love Kelly
But
Bryant
now it's time to move on to callers, guys. And we got Connor from Maryland. So, Connor, how's your night going over there?
Night. I mean, I'm 3 hours ahead, so I'm pretty tired. But
Oh, I don't blame you.
obviously,
Well, we appreciate you staying up late, so I'm sure as it's 11:15 over there, you got a great question for us. So, Connor from Maryland, what do you have for us this week?
yeah. So I'm a VT fan, and so with the bad loss that we had to Duke and this win that we had against Miami, I've never been more demoralized seeing a win like that, with how we almost choked away a 28-point lead, or we did, and then almost blew the game. So I wanted to ask you guys, what is a demoralizing win that you've seen for a team that you rooted for? And what's a game that you felt worse about your team after the win than you did before the game?
First off, I just want to touch upon this Virginia Tech-Miami game. This was fantastic because Virginia Tech had the huge lead. Miami comes back, and then, right as the game's ending, they cut away to, I think it was the Georgia-Tennessee game, and the last thing you hear on the broadcast is the color commentator going, "Wait," And then they just cut away. Then it turns out, I guess it was like Miami had 1 second left, and the play ended, and the game just ended. But I thought that was the greatest thing. The color commentator goes,
He said, "Hey."
it was like, "Hey, wait."
He said, "Hang on." And
Yeah,
I'm
hang
just
on.
Like, wait, what?
And then they cut away. So
everyone in the game thread on the college football subreddit was like, "Wait, what? What did we just hear? Like, what had happened?"
So it's a good thing it wasn't like some miraculous comeback from Miami. But in regards to that's a fantastic question. I'm going to throw it to Josh first because I need to truly think on this one because I'm sure there's some.
Yeah, that's a really good question. I don't know. Like I'm trying to think about some really demoralizing wins where I felt worse about the team coming out of the game than going in. But I want to say I'll say. There was a USC-Minnesota game in 2011. It was at the Coliseum, and it was like really. And SC went on to be like 10-2 that year with their only losses, getting beat by ASU on the road in like a sandstorm or whatever. And
it's called a haboob, Josh.
Well, yeah, I was trying to explain. And then they also lost to Stanford in double overtime at the Coliseum. But they lost they won 17-14 against a Minnesota team that was not very good, and it was like a 12 o'clock game. So obviously, I wasn't happy about the fact that it was a 12 o'clock game because that means you can't tailgate and hang out all day. And I remember getting home and I had some friends over, and I just thought they are really bad. And they went on to win, but I remember coming home after that game thinking this is going to be a long year.
The one I thought of was, so senior year of high school, so 2015, Notre Dame had one loss to this point. They lost by 2 points at Clemson, and they were in the top 4. I mean, the committee had them in the top 4 to make the playoff, and then they go up in the second to last week of the season. They go play Boston College at Fenway Park, and Boston College this year had one of the 5 worst offenses in the whole country. And Notre Dame won 19-16. And I knew from the minute that game ended, they just shot themselves in the foot. They're falling out of the top 4. Therefore, they did. They lose to Stanford the next week. I don't think the mentality was the same, and they miss out on a chance to go to the playoffs. I mean, it was in the bag for them. Again, 19-16 against Boston College. Again, a team that was not potent offensively by any standards. That was a demoralizing win.
Mm-hmm. This is a good one because I'm just a fan of a demoralizing team. in the Indiana Hoosiers. But there was a loss for me that just really stung. At IU, 2015, they were playing Duke in the Pinstripe Bowl, Yankee Stadium.
Oh, I remember that game.
You get down, you go to the very last. We had the ability to score a game-winning field goal, and Griffin Oakes goes for the field goal, and it was above the upright, and he celebrated like he made it, like it was directly above the upright. So that's referee's discretion. And they said it was no
good. Like the Justin Tucker winner.
Exactly.
That counts as a demoralizing win and loss.
Yeah, but we lost. But yeah, so that was one for me because I celebrated like we had just won a bowl game, like our first bowl game in 20-something years. And so I was really happy about that, was loving it. And then they cut to the referees and they were talking to each other and then they said no good. And that was just one that stuck with me and stung.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. Demoralizing win. I know definitely I'm sure back in my younger days there were some SC ones that were just awful, but I can't really remember. So instead, I'm just going to transition to some demoralizing losses that instantly come to mind.
Oh no!
The one at home against Stanford when Stanford was the worst team in the country, and they came in and I think it was
44 points.
Yeah, it was.
Oh man,
it was that one with Harbaugh as the coach at Stanford, and then the other one was years later when they go on the road as the #1 team to Oregon State.
Yeah,
and Oregon State, they pull off that upset. And I just remember going, my gosh, it just left it was just. Yeah, I feel like for some reason though, it was just the Oregon State one just seemed worse than the Stanford one. I don't know why because
they did it twice.
Yeah, and I just remember going my gosh. Now again, I'd have to go year by year and look up SC's schedule to see which ones because I can't think of any right now. But in regards to demoralizing losses, those would have to be there. But since you asked such a great question, I'm sure you have to have some. So I'm going to say, what's the most either demoralizing win or loss that you've experienced, Connor?
Oh, God, what do I choose from? Do I choose ODU from last year? Do I choose JMU from 2010? I mean, I wasn't old enough to know this, but every older Virginia Tech fan over 30 or 40 talks about the Temple game from the mid to late 90s. where Virginia Tech was like a 22-point favorite at Temple. But I mean, I was at the Old Dominion game this year and watching the Furman game. Like those were all just demoralizing wins because obviously, especially Furman, that's an FCS school, and we're just, I don't know, we're just like digging ourselves into a grave that we're not wanting to jump into yet. You know what I mean? So I don't know what to think, but there's plenty that I can choose from as a VT fan.
Well, Connor, you did a great job. Anytime you can get us to struggle to come up with an answer for a Q&A question, you're doing your job. One of the best we've ever gotten, so we appreciate it. It was worth you staying up till 11:20 at night, and best of luck with Virginia Tech the rest of the season. I know they, without a doubt, need it still.
Yeah, we get Rhode Island, so that this win won't. So, well, this win or loss, whatever. If they win, it doesn't count for their both chances. So
I was going to say maybe next week you'll have a new demoralizing win if they struggle against Rhode Island.
Well, I mean, it's replacing the East Carolina series because of that whole situation from last year. So they had to quickly schedule another team. So that's why they have 2 FCS this year.
Well, hopefully you guys can get the job done. Connor, as always, thank you again for calling in, and have a good rest of your week.
Yeah, my pleasure, guys. Have a great night.
That's one of the better questions we've got, guys, because like I said, I couldn't figure out an answer for demoralizing win.
No, that was a good question. I thought of 2 quickly on the spot. That Boston College one, and also the year the Irish made the national championship. They went to like 3 overtimes with Pitt, and multiple times should have lost, and they still won.
Yeah, they did that a couple times that year where they had some very narrow wins against teams that they really should have killed.
Just about every week.
Yeah, that was because they were good. They just weren't the number 1 or number 2 team.
No,
so
all right, well that does wrap up our Q&A this week. So for those of you that I'm going through my DMs right now, and I guess they were trying to call in when Connor was on, so unfortunately we've run out of time. But hey, you guys can get us next week, which brings us to the pick'em. So Brady, cue up that music. He's shaking his head.
We're gonna go through the rankings first.
Well, yes, but the pick'ems, and then we go to the rankings. I just like having the music in the background.
It's hard to hear the sound effect.
Moving first to our pick'em group rankings, and first place now, dead first place, is TY4 Gator with 45 points. He has a 2-point edge on the next guy in second place.
45 points?
Yeah.
That's a lot of points.
It's a lot of points.
I don't even have half that because I haven't made my picks in 2 weeks.
I wonder if somebody could put that up on Bama.
We'll have to wait and see. But now we are going to go to our pick'em rankings. In last place with 38 points is B still. In third place with 41 points is Lyle. In third place, or second place, this always confuses me. In second place with 45, staying on the topic of 45, is Josh.
And what? Brady has 45.1?
Yes, Brady has 45.5.
181.88 is what I have.
Brady has 47.
It's his year, man. It's his year to win the pick'em.
Is Brady the only one who hasn't won?
Yeah.
Correct.
Okay. Yeah, well, that's going to be unfortunate.
All right, let's get to these pick'ems now, guys. Some of these games you can just briefly talk about. Some of these we can go more in depth for 30 seconds or so to a minute. We got about 10 minutes to go. We can go a few minutes over. It's our show. We can do whatever we want, but let's do it right now, guys. Appalachian State at Louisiana.
This game on a Wednesday, by the way,
yes,
guys.
I'm glad you brought it up. Some Wednesday football action.
Yes, I love Wednesday night football, baby.
When does Maction start? Is that next week or 2 weeks?
Josh, make your pick.
I'm taking ASU over the Warhawks. Wait, no. That's Monroe. I'm still taking ASU over the Raging Cajuns.
App State, they're undefeated.
Yeah, Louisiana only has 1 loss, though. I'm going Louisiana at home.
I like it. I'm going to go with Appalachian State in this one. Number 20, Virginia at Miami.
Guys, Miami is not good. I'm rolling with former Sun Devil and my fantasy quarterback in my other league. I might have him in this league too. I don't know. I'm taking UVA. I like UVA and I don't like Miami at all because I don't think they're very good. Sorry, Josh White. I'm taking Virginia on the road.
Miami came all the way back on Saturday, only to have it, kind of slip out of their hands. They missed a PAT with a chance to take the lead.
That's true.
Season's not going their way. I got Virginia.
Sorry, Josh White.
Virginia on the road. And I have Bryce Perkins, Josh.
I'm going to go with Virginia in this one. I'm going to save this one. I have this one at third. I'll save this one for a little lower in the list. We're going to go to number 23, Memphis at Temple.
You know, I like Memphis. I know a couple of guys who actually cover Memphis for their local papers in Tennessee. I knew from high school, and I see a lot of Memphis stuff. They got sick uniforms. I'm taking Memphis. They got a little number 23 next to their name, too, so I like that a lot.
I got Memphis, too. Sticking on the ASU former quarterbacks. Brady White's having a good year. Memphis is obviously having a good year, so I got to go with Memphis.
Memphis on the road.
Temple's having a good season. They've only lost one game this season. I'm going to go with Temple at home. Number 1, Alabama. At number 24, Texas A&M.
I'm taking A&M at home to lose to Alabama.
In a ranked matchup, you'd think you'd take more time to make these picks. I'm not. Bama.
I'm going the Fighting Elephants, Alabama.
Yeah, Bama, not even close. Whatever the spread is, add 10 to that. Michigan State at number 8, Wisconsin.
I still think Michigan State's solid. There were some points of that Ohio State game where I thought they looked all right. I'm just taking Scotty. Taking Scotty at home.
I like Wisconsin. They're a different team this year, and they've got an offense. I like Wisconsin.
Jonathan Taylor going to have more than 5 touchdowns this week. I'm going Wisconsin at home.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Wisconsin as well. Over-under, guys. Jonathan Taylor, 3.5 touchdowns.
I'm going to take the over.
Over.
Hammer the over.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the over as well. Actually, no, I'm skipping them. Iowa State at West Virginia.
I think this is going to be a really good game, too. I think it's going to be a classic Big 12 game. I'm thinking like 41-38, and I'm taking the Cyclones on the road.
I'm going to go West Virginia. I think the Mountaineers at home can get it done.
Because he thinks a Mountaineer could beat a Cyclone.
Hey, a Mountaineer does have a gun.
Yes. Is that what you're going to say?
A Mountaineer does have a gun.
Yeah, but he ain't Pistol Pete.
That's true.
Now that we're talking about this, you would take Pistol Pete over a Mountaineer who also has a gun?
He's just got the upper hand.
But he's got a great beard.
What about the
beard.
what about the Red Raider mascot, Texas Tech?
It is literally the same thing as the Oklahoma State mascot.
Except he wears a mask.
Yeah, and I'm taking my chances.
The Red Raider wears a mask.
He's like Zorro.
Yeah.
Iowa State on the road. Cyclones.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the Cyclones in this one. Number 10, Penn State at number 17, Iowa.
I think this is going to be a low-scoring game for the final 3 quarters. I'm taking Penn State to put up 21 in the first quarter, and then I think it's going to be low-scoring after that. But I'm taking the Nittany Lions on the road.
I got Penn State. Iowa just doesn't have the offense to keep up.
Penn State on the road.
Yeah, I think this is going to be a nice 21-6 game. That's my score prediction, with the Penn State winning it. Nebraska at the good old Minnesota, the undefeated Gophers. Lyle's favorite team.
You know, this one was really hard for me to pick because I think that I don't think Minnesota's that good. I think it's close. I think Nebraska takes it to the end. I like Minnesota by a field goal.
I'm taking Nebraska on the road. This is their first really tough task, and I know Nebraska's had its struggles this year, but talent-wise, I just think they're better than Minnesota.
Win this game. Prove us right. Show us you deserve to be undefeated. I'm going Minnesota.
I'm going to go with Nebraska. I just need Adrian Martinez to have a good fantasy week for once. Wyoming at San Diego State.
Here's another good one. It's a conference game, and I like the Aztecs at home. Go Fighting Brandon Heiklands.
Yeah, I got San Diego State.
Number, what is he, 59 or 58?
59.
Number 59 on the field, number
59 in my heart.
59 in Josh's heart. But I am going to pick them to score less than 59 points, but more than Wyoming. So San Diego State.
That's a bold move. Now, if they score more points than Wyoming, they will win the game.
Most of the time,
But
that's how it works.
they won't win the game because Wyoming's going to win the game. USC at number 9, Notre Dame.
Guys, I have no idea what to think about USC right now. I think they win 8 games. I don't know if Saturday's one of them. All I know is that Keaton Slovis will be the starting quarterback for the Trojans this week. And I'm excited for it. I think Notre Dame can blow them out. I think USC can beat them. I don't know what to expect. I'm going to take Notre Dame because, one, I think it's the safe pick. Slovis hasn't played in a few weeks. But, Lyle, I think there is a better chance this year than last year that I will not be wearing your Notre Dame jersey on our next show.
Now, on the show right now, before Lyle goes, is the shirt bet in effect?
Of course, it's every year the shirt
now,
bet's
I
in
feel the
effect.
shirt bet should be in effect with the spread, though, because, I mean, Notre Dame does have the edge.
Do we want to go? I'm fine with either.
What do you think, Blake? I'll let a third party decide.
Well, once I get it up, I will let you know what
Wasn't
the
it
spread
like
is.
11? I think it was 11.
I'm looking it up.
Okay. Well,
me some time.
While you look it up, I'll make my pick. I think I'm with Josh. I think USC is a good team. I think they're much better than they were last year. I think Notre Dame's a little bit more down than they were last year, and with Keaton Slovis back, I think that helps the offense a lot. But like I always like to say about Ian Book, is he wins the games he's supposed to win. I think this is a game he's supposed to win at home. So for that reason, I'm going to take Notre Dame.
Yeah, and before we move on, I've seen a lot of people on Twitter saying it's a win-win for USC because they either beat Notre Dame or they lose and Clay Helton gets fired. First of all, I think it's terrible to think that, oh, cool, if we lose, our coach gets fired. I think that's awful. I'm also not on the whole hating Clay Helton thing. But here's another thing. I think if SC loses, Clay Helton still keeps his job. So I think that's one thing to point out moving forward. I think SC can lose, and Clay Helton's still coaching the team next week.
The spread is 11.
11. Yeah. Over under 57.5.
Do you guys want to do the spread of 11 or just have a respectable winner take all?
What do you think, Lyle?
They got the under, so you just, USC's not favored, so I'll let you decide.
Do the spread.
I'll do the spread.
Okay.
But
Yes.
if Notre Dame doesn't beat the spread, then you don't have to wear the USC jersey.
Okay.
So we'll do that then.
Okay. So no jersey.
No. If SC wins, Lyle wears the jersey.
Right.
If Notre Dame wins and beats the spread, I wear the Notre Dame jersey.
All
But it's
right. If
canceled
If nothing
out.
happens, it cancels.
Okay, I
out.
like
All
that.
right.
All right.
What is your guys' total record in this so far?
2-1 to me. Josh
There you
won
go.
the. There we go.
Okay.
Josh won the first. I've got the last two.
Notre Dame at home in the great state of Indiana.
I'm going to go with Notre Dame as well. Number 7, Florida at number 5, LSU.
I maybe Florida can prove us wrong, but look, taking LSU by 13.
Florida's good. LSU's just better. I got Joe Burrow and the Tigers.
Hey guys, thank you. We love you, man. Go Tigers.
I got the Tigers, baby.
I got the Tigers as well. The Red River Showdown, number 11, Texas against number 6, Oklahoma.
Boomer Sooner.
I got Oklahoma getting this one.
See this right here? See this? See what these are? Horns. Don. Oklahoma.
I'm going to go with Oklahoma as well, which brings us to the worst of the worst, UNLV at Vanderbilt.
I'll take this one. I'll take a page out of Brady's book. I'm taking Vanderbilt because why, Lyle?
Because why not?
No.
Yeah, and also they have cooler uniforms.
I'm going to take Vanderbilt because why, Blake? He's not paying attention.
Why
because
not?
why not?
I'm going to take Vanderbilt because why Mason and Brett? Because why not?
Yes.
Thanks, interns. All right, I'm going to go with Vanderbilt. And this one brings us to the final game, Washington State at number 18, Arizona State. Guys, we're ranked 18th. I don't know how we could be ranked top 10 if we wouldn't blow it to Colorado, but hey, Arizona State's ranked 18th, and they're playing Washington State.
We didn't talk about this on the show, but I think we all kind of agreed a few weeks ago that ASU would beat Michigan State on the road, then lose at home to Colorado, and then go on the road and beat Cal. So by that logic, it would make a whole lot of sense for ASU to lose at home to Washington State and then go up to Utah and beat a ranked Utah team next week. And I think that could probably happen. But I'm going to go with the safe pick. I don't think Washington State's that good. I'm taking ASU 38-36 at home. Jeez.
ASU's going to get it done. I know they had the slip up against Colorado, but they're going to bounce back. ASU in the Hard Knocks Bowl.
Hard Knocks Bowl this week, like Lyle said. You know, I was thinking when you said Hard Knocks Bowl, Red Box Bowl, but whatever. Hard Knocks HBO here this week. Gonna be sick. Check it out. I'm going the Sun Devils at home. Mike Leach is going to come in here and really find out what a Sun Devil is. Sun Devils.
Take the over in this game, whatever it is, take it, add 20 points to that. But I'm going to go with the Sun Devils in this one. But hey, if Washington State wins this, that's going to be the most ASU loss ever. So I'm not going to be surprised. Follow us on Twitter at the HHShow_. Listen to the show every Tuesday night at 10 p.m. Eastern on BlazeRadioOnline.com and start to win that Perfect Package 2.0. It's the perfect package for your perfect package. For Josh Schaefer, Lyle Goldstein with Brady Klein, I am Blake Harris. From the Bill Austin Radio Studio, the Walter Cronkite School of Journalism in beautiful downtown Phoenix. Interns, my coffee is cold. We'll see you guys next week.